All right, good evening. It is 9 o'clock, and I am pretty tired, but I wanted to do these cubic formulas so you know what to do on your quiz. I was thinking about making notes for my homebound kids and my alternative ed kids, and I was also thinking about making YouTube videos, so I figured I would knock two birds out with one stone. So, what I want to do is, I want to be able to factor something that is a cubic. Now, let me tell you what I'm talking about when I say this. When I say cubic, I mean something has an exponent of 3. In other words, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out what I need to cube to get back to x cubed. And I need to figure out what I need to cube to get back to y cubed. And those two things are going to be called my parts. Now, I want you to get this in your brain right now. When you have cubes, you can do sum of cubes, and you can also do difference of cubes. That is not the same thing for squares, though. You got to keep in mind. Difference of squares is possible to factor, but the thing that is not possible to factor is the sum of squares. So, for example, x squared plus 9, that would be a prime polynomial because you can't factor that. But when we talk about cubics, you can do minus and you can do plus. And I wanted to just go ahead and change my colors real quick just to show you what I'm doing. When I do cubics, I think about my parts first. Obviously, I need to cube x to get to x cubed, and I need to cube y to get to y cubed. Now, at this point, this is my first factor. What I do is I take the sign that I was given in the first place, this minus right here, and I put it in between. Notice that's the same thing for the sum. I start off with a plus, and I end up with a plus in my first factor. The next thing I want to do is I want to square my parts. So remember that x that we found? We're going to square it to get x squared. Notice that y that we found? We're going to square that to get y squared. And in the middle, we're going to multiply the two parts together to get x times y. And that's basically the same thing for sum of cubes. So the structure of these two formulas are the same. But what I do want to say is the signs are different. So let me go ahead and change my colors back real quick to black. And I want you guys to notice what the signs are when I do this. Now, there's this really helpful word that I like to drill into my students' heads. It's called SOAP. So let me go ahead and write that down. It starts off with an S. Oh, this is way too bold. Let me go ahead and fix the size on this. It's called SOAP. SOAP. Now, every single letter of this stands for something. The S stands for same, so let me go ahead and write that down. And let me go ahead and change my tool options so I can get something that I can write with. This isn't working for me. There we go. So what I wanted to do is I want to tell you what SOAP means. S stands for same, O stands for opposite, and AP stands for always positive. So those are the order of signs that we choose. Notice that for the first factor, I start off with a plus because I was given a plus. That's why it's called the same sign. That's what S stands for. When I'm talking about O, that stands for opposite. So the next sign I'm going to choose, this one right here, that's got to be the opposite of what I start off with. Notice since we started off with a plus, we're going to end with a minus. And the last sign is always positive. That's what the AP stands for. Notice this last sign right here and right here is always going to be positive. All right, so now let's go ahead and get into some formulas and let's see if we can figure out what we're going to do to factor these. What I want to do is I want to find my parts for this first. What am I cubing to get to x cubed? Well, I've got to cube x, right? So that's going to be my first part. I'm going to choose an x for my first factor. Then I think to myself, well, what do I have to cube to get to 8? And if you think about 8, you have to do 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 is going to be my second part. I'm going to put that on the inside. Then I'm going to go ahead and close my parentheses up. Now, we started off with a minus, so let me put a minus in between. And in our next factor, we're going to start squaring stuff. So when I square x, I'm going to get x squared. Let me go ahead and write that down. When I square the 2, I'm going to get 4, because 2 times 2 is 4. Let me write that on the right side, because what I'm going to do in the middle is, I'm going to leave a space for when we multiply the two parts together. So what's 2 times x? That's just going to be 2x. So let me put that in the middle. Like this. Alright. Now we just think of SOAP again. So we started off with the same sign, so now we need the opposite. That's what the O stands for. Since we started off with a minus, we need to choose a plus. Good. And the last sign is always positive, so I need a plus right here. I always choose my signs at the end, and that usually helps me out because SOAP is the last thing that I think about. Let's try this next example real quick. What is my first part right here? Well, first of all, I need to cube 3 to get to 27, because 3 times 3 times 3, that's going to give me a 27. So I'm starting off with a 3, but notice it's attached to an x right here. So I got to put that x down. Bring down your plus. And the cube root of 125 is just 5. I'm going to write that right here. Let's start squaring stuff. So what happens when I square 3x? That's basically 3x times 3x, right? I'm going to get 9x squared. So if I square the 3, I get 9. If I square the x, I get x squared. Alright, fair enough. Now we need to square the 5 right here. Well, 5 times 5 is 25. So let me go ahead and skip a space in the middle, and I'm going to write 25 over here. Go ahead and close up your parentheses on the right side. Now all I need to do is, notice the middle part. What I'm doing is, I'm multiplying the two parts together. So what's 3x times 5? That would be 15x. Don't forget your x that's attached to that 3 right there. That's super important. You don't want to leave that out. So 15x goes in the middle. Now, let's remember SOAP. Do you remember your signs? Same, opposite, so I need a minus, always positive. So I hope this helped you guys out. Cubics are really easy once you memorize the structure, which is basically the formulas up here, and when you remember SOAP for your signs. So remembering cubics are super easy. You just got to know the structure and the signs. And thank you so much for watching.